everybody. How are you doing? This beautiful, it still is Saturday, so I am streaming on Saturday officially, the 15th. Spirit 420 here because everything I do is so 420. Good to see all of you folks, or good to technically not see all of you. I just see this little tiny camera here. That said, I want to start off by apologizing for being so late. I had to run to Denver. Conifer actually is the name of the place. And technically it's up in the not technically, but it is up in the mountains. So I have to go through Denver. Or I guess you could say around. Either way, about an hour and 20-minute drive from here. And I had no choice because I didn't want to do it tomorrow, Father's Day. So I was like, all right, I'll stream later and go tonight. I didn't even get up there until it was like a little after 8 when I got up there. And then of course on the way the car decided to be fun, and it just stopped. I'll explain it here in a second. I want to say hello to everybody. What's up, Joe? Other Joe is here. That's hilarious. Good to see both of you guys. And what was I going to say? I have a Nissan Juke, and it has one of these funny CVT transmissions. I'm sure most of y'all have heard of them by now. And I don't know what the hell happened, but it just wouldn't shift. And what I mean by that is I had to slow the car down physically to the point where it would be forced to downshift. So I couldn't downshift. So once it was in 6th gear, right, it stayed in 6th gear until it got slow enough to go down. And that you can't climb a hill like that. You know, I couldn't downshift. So finally, I got to a place. I was about 5 minutes from my destination, as a matter of fact. And it was just, I'm like literally pooting up the hill with fucking hazards on. Typical shit, right? You got hit with a NATO on Memorial Day. That fucking sucks. Yeah. So 5 minutes from the destination, we finally pull over to this little, what was it called? It was funny because I hadn't never heard of these. It was some little fucking gas station, you know what I mean? And just I sat there for a minute, and I literally prayed. I was like, please, God, please. Because it's not, I have the car covered. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't that I was worried about the car itself in the sense of getting fixed or having an issue. There was 2 things I was worried about. One, I was delivering a bike and was trying to get just 5 miles further to make a substantial amount of money that I needed to pay some bills. I was selling my bicycle, fat bike, just so y'all understand what it is, Borealis Telluride. So I have just 5 miles to go, and now the car has, like I said, kaput on me. And what I was concerned about was A, getting there, and B, getting home, and C, how was I going to get my wife to work from now on? I work from home, but she doesn't. And I was like, how am I going to get her to work if I do get the car fixed? I was like, I'm gonna have to worry about getting a rental because I gotta have a vehicle. Anyway, we made it home. After stopping and letting it cool off, that seemed to do the trick. It seemed to be fine. It drove home fine. I was able to shift, and I'm gonna actually have to do some reading, and I may even have to take it in and have them look at it when I, have a couple days in order to do so. But yeah, something that was strange. I haven't experienced that. It has Shiftronics too, and I could not, if I tried to move over and tell it to downshift, it just blinked, number 6 at me, which the gear it was in. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not doing me any fucking good. So that explains why I was late. That also explains my shitty hair and my oily face. So I do apologize for all 3 of those factors. And I'm not going to be on very long because it is already 10:40 here. But I am a man of my word, and I try to keep my word. I was hoping that Chaos might make it, but I don't think that he may not. We'll see. If I'm on long enough, he'll come in. So, needless to say, the day was. It's been a challenge, to say the least. Yesterday, the challenge started because I am, and I will admit it, but I am. Let's see. I got to get my glasses out to tell you that. I am. What's the word? Oh, this is biochem. This is biochem sugar wax, and it's clocking in at 67%. So it's not the both of these are relatively low percentage in comparison to what I usually get. This other one here is Grape Stomper and Bruce Banner. It's also a sugar wax, and it's clocking in at about 68.5%. I mean, they still do the job, but usually when I get from these guys, who is this? What's the name of this company? I know I always get. I mean, I get them quite a bit. That's the batch number. Where's their? Well, that just. Huh. I thought their name was sitting right there. Maybe it's on the peel. This is one of those that. Well, okay. It said peel to get more information. All it did was peel the sticker off. Classic. Oh yeah, I love some good rosin. The rosins usually I have found to a higher percentage than the, generally speaking, than the sugars and other ones. Like most of the rosins that I've had are usually in the low 80s to even low 90s, right? Somewhere in there. This one is more, so this one is like more like almost a, what would you call it? Sauce, almost saucy, right? And this one is definitely more of your classic sugar. You can see that. So anyway, good to see all of y'all, regardless. And what I was trying to say is I am hopelessly addicted to Kratom. It replaced, I already fought a battle with opiates back in 2012, quit in 2012. And then about 3.5 years ago, I found Kratom, and I'm not trying to say that it's bad. So it's a mixed bag. First of all, the addiction to Kratom is nowhere near the addiction to opiates. Let me just be very clear. But it still sucks when you are used to taking it every day to cope with pain, and then all of a sudden you don't, right? So it has not been exactly what you would call a fun day, right? Although I will say we ended up, because it's not just me quitting, but it's also my mother. And she looked up and found out that really, just like anything, and I get it, but just like any actual drug, if you will, like even an opiate, they say don't quit cold turkey because it's too much of a shock on the system. So now we're in weaning mode. But weaning mode doesn't mean, let's just say it still sucks. It's not the happy mode that I was in when I was taking Kratom at whatever degree I felt that I, should be taking Kratom, which I promise you was and is most of the time probably more than I need. But hey, at least I can admit it. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that. I'm not sitting here trying to live on that river over there in Egypt, right? I don't live on denial. I know exactly what I'm facing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I will also say this: the addiction is not. If you know anything about addiction, one of the key things that you have to look at deciding if an addiction is okay or not, because we're addicted to everything, is has the addiction caused you to lose control of your life? Right? That's the real kicker. Does the addiction, do you find yourself doing whatever it takes, I guess you could say? If that's the case, it really doesn't matter if it's sex, cigarettes, sugar. The addiction is more powerful than you, and your life is out of control due to it, then it's something you should probably think about quitting. But of course, that's also your choice. And one thing that I have encountered myself, no one will quit before their time. What I mean by that is, if you don't absolutely 100% truly in your heart and soul want to quit, then it will not be successful. And I'm sure that most of y'all have heard this before. This isn't new. So my day has been a mixed bag. While weaning off and trying to deal with that, I was also watching the U.S. Open today, which is always fun if you're a golf fan, which I am. I can't play anymore. I could probably play putt-putt. Well, I know I can't. I could probably play golf, but I cannot hit the ball very far due to my back. So that's the big problem. Tiger did not make the cut. It's pretty much the end of the days of Tiger Woods, which on one hand, on one hand kind of sucks. And what I mean by that is I really, I grew up started in the 70s, right? But I was a young man in the 20s, or excuse me, I was in my 20s in the 90s when Tiger was coming up. He's only 3.5 years younger than me. So being that we were close to the same age and watching him just destroy the game, after growing up with my father and watching, an older white dude do it, it was very, I'll just say it was very interesting. It was crazy to see it happening, because truly golf until Tiger was almost exclusively white men. I mean, there were some pros that played of other countries and things like that, but it wasn't what it is today. I can tell you that. You should look up the history of the Masters in Augusta, because that's not, let's just say it has a colored past, right? That's a pun for those of you that are unaware. Yep. Actually, what's funny that you say that, because I quit. I used the steps back when I was younger. Technically, I went into treatment at 16, but I didn't learn the steps because they had me on the psych side, and then they put me on the drug side after they found out how many drugs I used. But yeah. So I was 17 when I was introduced to the program. And it's funny because I remember even doing it then. Like when I first heard about it, I didn't really want to quit. I was like, this isn't a problem. And this is a whole different conversation. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go in that direction. In fact, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take another dab. And I will say this. Addiction is something you have to decide for yourself. That's the whole point. If you are truly addicted to something and it is, you're powerless over it, and it's taken over your life, you have no control, that's not a fun place to be. And what I mean by that is I know part of why I'm quitting this is, I even said it to my mother and to my wife, is I will feel a freedom. Right now, I feel somewhat a slave to this, where like if I don't have it, then I go into panic mode, and that's No, I don't like anything that you do that with. Anything you do that with, even if it's marijuana, folks. Don't get me wrong. I know I do it, but you have to pick and choose. I'm not powerless. Marijuana has not kicked my ass like that. And what I mean, even if I don't have it, first of all, I have plenty of resin and reclaim to last me a good long time if I don't have any money. But aside from that, it's just not the same. It never has been the same with Mary Jane. And I think that's like, to give you for instance, not that I've done this for Kratom, by the way, but opiates definitely, where you literally sell stuff. I don't remember selling any. I don't remember pawning anything for marijuana. I don't remember ever going out and holding up a liquor store or something like that, or robbing anybody for a 20 sack. I'm just saying. Now crack and opium, heroin, that's a different story. People have absolutely done those things for those drugs. I've done those drugs and I have been addicted to them, but I can truly say that I never did those things either. Not everybody that gets addicted goes down the road of pawning everything that they have. I mean, sometimes the powerlessness is the fact that they just simply can't stop, and that in itself causes your life to become unmanageable. You become a slave to it. Like, let's take cocaine. You're doing the cocaine to work, to make money, so that you have enough money to do more cocaine, to work, to have, you see what I mean? So that's the cocaine one. Heroin's not much different. And what I mean by that is opiates not much different if you are in back pain. That's how I got addicted to it, was the opiates back in 2010 when they started prescribing them to me for my back. And it started out innocent enough. Taking them relieve the back pain, right? Next thing you know, if you don't have them in the morning, you're an irritable SOB if you don't have that opiate to wake up to, and your back is in pain, right? So then you're working to make sure that you stay out of pain. However, working causes more pain, but it's to get that drug that you need so that you can work to get the drug that takes away the pain. So you can work to get the drug that takes away the pain. I mean, you get it. We all have these little things. Well, I'm not sure. I shouldn't say that. Some of us somehow get lucky enough, right? Sell your child for the next fix. Luckily, I even tried meth, but meth was never. I'm ADHD, so meth actually was more like taking ADHD medication. Literally, I'm not even kidding. Like, it wasn't. I would just become very focused, and like, it didn't even. I wasn't like that. I just became extremely focused. It literally worked as if I was taking Adderall. In fact, I kid you not, when I didn't have Adderall, I got some meth and used it as Adderall, and I was fine. Like, I didn't use it as a drug to encounter some euphoric or high feeling or anything like that. I literally used it to replace the Adderall that I didn't have at the time. Of course, I don't take Adderall anymore. No, I just try to stay away from all those things. I'm about to quit Lexapro. I know it may sound somewhat, what's the word? Contradictive as I sit here and smoke marijuana day after day. But I've never liked the idea of having to take a pill to be normal, if you will, which is, I only started taking the Lexapro because they technically diagnosed me as with PTSD from Sky. So I was like, okay, maybe this will help. In some ways, do I grow? No, I don't grow. But I appreciate you asking. I think were you asking about me, Corey, or were you asking about somebody else? I'm assuming you were asking about me. I don't grow, but I do have a medical card. I want to start growing in the future. I have to wait till the right situation. I promised my landlord that I would not grow in this house, so uh, yeah, I've got to get to a point where I can either put, and I don't have a lot of room in the backyard, so the only option really would be to put a small greenhouse at the back, a small, which um, at some point I will probably get a tent. I know someone was going to give me one, and I'm not expecting it. But if I ever do get that, I'll probably use that. I might be able to set it up. We talked about it. I might be able to set up a small one down in the basement, but I'd have to move some Christmas, and I really would feel bad because I told the landlord that I wouldn't grow. But if I just did one 4x4 tent, that wouldn't really stink up the house, and that was her concern, is the um, what's the word? The damage that is done to the home by growing weed in it. Period. So it will eventually happen. I want to grow it for the same reason that I was into growing bonsais for a while, though. It's about the growing of it too, not just the smoking, but the whole process of planting, cloning. At least that's what I did back in the day. We did clones. Start with seed, obviously, but then you get a couple of, like, we had what was it, 6 clones, six mothers for cloning, and then that's pretty much all we did. Those were the days. That was back in '96. Holy shit, that's almost 30 years ago. Wow. Time is a jetliner. That's all I can tell you. By the way, if we could all take a moment, whether you pray or if you just believe in sending positive vibes, whichever one you do, please take a moment and send some prayers and positive vibes to my friend Joe Dirt. He just needs some, not guidance. He just needs some positive energy surrounding him. Put it that way. That's what he needs more than anything. He'll guide himself. He just needs the positive energy to put him in the right place, right? Can y'all hear my kids through the mic? I doubt it. I don't know if you can or not. Yeah. It's Saturday night, so everything's all right. No, they're going fucking nuts. I can hear. They are getting, one's 10 now, and the other one's about to be 13. Oh, what an age. The 13-year-old now, I'm going to have to go. Literally, I was like, dude, we got to get deodorant for you. He now has stinky armpits. So, I'm assuming, I can't remember when I was growing up, but I'm assuming that there are, like, young people's kids, young teenagers, deodorant. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Yeah. And I mean, it's the perfect thing to do on Father's Day, right? Go out and buy your kid deodorant, right? Oh, interesting. I'll have to consider that in the future. We were our whole thing was was mass production, so the clones, quite honestly, worked better for us because we didn't have seed. So, I mean, we had the original seeds that we started all those mothers from, except for one. One was a first generation clone from somebody else that we got. Just one. Everything else was started from seed. I still remember all of them, I believe. Let's see. Early Girl, Orange Haze, Purple Haze, Durban Poison, Skunk number 2, and Humboldt. The Humboldt was the clone, by the way. Everything else we got from seed banks back in the day, which we got all those from Holland seed banks. Well, no, I'm sorry, we got 3 of those seeds from Holland seed banks. The other 2 we got seeds from local growers who had the seeds to give us. So. Now my partner was the genius. I was the tag along. I was the um, the partnership was classic. Him and his uncle had been growing weed. His uncle, literally, by the time I met him, had been growing weed for 30 fucking years. So him and his uncle were pretty much pros at growing weed. They called me when they met me. I was nicknamed the Commercial King because I could move pounds of fucking weed and move them well. So obviously we had a great symbiotic relationship in the sense that he could grow and I could sell. So I didn't really do a whole lot of growing. I just rented a home where we had a grow home. Don't get me wrong. I helped and I learned a lot. I mean, I knew what was happening. I knew, I knew how to cut a clone, dip it in Clone X, put it in the little fucking germinator thing, and put it in the system. And then 2 weeks later, it went to the lights. So I mean, I knew the concept of what I was doing, but I was not the my spirit's with me tonight. People think I'm crazy, but this room, the TV has turned on. You should see it right there. I did not turn that TV on. That TV turns itself on. I will, and by the way, the remote, you can't see it, but the remote is like, it's here, Velcro to the side of the desk. I never put my hand anywhere near the button to turn on the Apple or the TV. If you turn on either one, they turn on each other. I didn't do that. So I'm just telling you. That one's new. Usually the spirit only turns on the speaker. It's just the speaker. Almost every single day I turn the speaker off. So there's a sound bar, Sony sound bar, TV, and an Apple TV. And the spirit that lives in this fucking room will turn on just and he's a prankster. And I've got some friends that are, I guess you could say, semi clairvoyant. And he sees the same guy. It's an older guy that smokes either a pipe or a cigar, but some kind of, rustic tobacco. And he is clearly not from any new time frame. Like the spirit is, I get the feeling that he's been around based on the way he was described for me. I would say probably, because in this area too, it goes back pretty far. There's graveyards that have like late 1700s. So I think this dude is probably from the 1800s, like pre-Civil War. And we get crazy number of orbs in my youngest son's room. At night, we turn the IR on, and I mean, it's just, you can't see them until you turn the IR on, and then it's just crazy flooding of orbs. Not as much lately, but I think just like anything in this world, everything is finicky. It's energy, so it doesn't do the same thing every day all the time. That's why, I mean, that fucking blew me away. I don't know if anybody saw it in my face or my expression, but like, normally it's just the sound bar. I don't think it's ever been the TV. I shouldn't say only the sound bar. Many times it's the Xbox. The spirit will turn on. So I have the Xbox X series, but it's in a, what do you call it? A dock, and has a dust lid on it. But the dust lid and the dock also have lights for effects. And the spirit will either turn on the top portion with the fan and the lights, or just the lights, or I mean, it's funny. It really is like, and it's only in this room, man. And when my other son, my oldest firstborn son, this was his bedroom, and then I took it over as my office. And he said it always felt like it was always different in here. And what I mean by that is like if the rest of the house was cold, then this room was hot, you know. Or excuse me, if the rest of the house was hot, this room was cold. And I guess maybe the vice versa too. Maybe that's what, it was the same thing. And he said he always felt like there was somebody with him. So I will say, I myself, we've smudged. So anybody who knows anything about spirits, we have smudged. There's nothing bad about the spirit. It just is what it is. Like, it's just, there's quite a few that live in this house. One of the best pieces of evidence that I have is I had a table leaning up like this that had been sitting there for days. And then all of a sudden, while I'm standing there, it just gets pushed over. Like, just all of a sudden, there was, just so you know, that's a play. There was no wind flow, nothing touched it. You can clearly see it. I actually have two angles because I have wise cams. I'm sure some of y'all have heard of those, but they're just cameras. I mean, there's one right there. They're just cameras throughout the house, so that, and they also have two-way communication, so we can easily see the boys, talk to them, find out where anybody is. Plus, they also work as they double as security for the house. And I have two different angles showing that nothing. I mean, all of a sudden it just gets pushed from leaning like this to upright all the way over. So, scared the shit out of me at the time because this was a 2x4, 2 foot by 4 foot folding table that then folds on itself. So it's in the, it's a rectangle, 2 feet, or excuse me, a square 2 feet by 2 feet, about that thick of plastic. And so when it hit the floor, you could imagine it was wha-pow. Oh, dude, I jumped. My mother lives downstairs. She jumped. My youngest comes running up. What was that? And that's when we figured out. I was like, I looked at the foot. I was like, holy shit, look at this. This just moves by itself. Crazy. So anyway, it's been 33 minutes already, and it's about to literally clocking on 34. So I love all of y'all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Let's see. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, so I'll be back Monday. I hope all of y'all have a wonderful Father's Day tomorrow. If you are a father, celebrate it. If not, at least, even if your father's already gone, then at least tell him you love him that way. If he's alive, then tell him you love him. Give your fathers a shout out. And it was nice meeting you, Corey. Hopefully, if you haven't, hopefully you'll subscribe. And on all the other notes there, I love all of you guys. I truly do. I love you, Joe. And I personally believe, just so you know, I've experienced all of the paranormal categories. As far as I know, there's just the 3, which is UFOs, right? Spirits and ghosts, and then cryptids. It's getting hot in here too. Cryptids, and I can't think of anything else. It's real. Come on, man. This world has so much that you don't know. Just think about that. Keep an open mind. That's all I have to say. With that, have a beautiful day. Have a lifted weekend. I hope that all of y'all take it easy, and truly, tomorrow's an opportunity to celebrate family. It's not just Father's Day to me, but it's a day I call and talk to my father. I call and talk to my boys, and I just enjoy being with the family. I literally ran that errand tonight so that I didn't have to go anywhere tomorrow on Father's Day. So I hope that all of y'all get a chance to. And after having a child that passed, I tell everybody this. Tonight, just do it for no reason, because you never know, right? Hug your family just a little bit tighter and just a little bit longer, and let them know you love them, because you never know. So I love all of you. I will see you Monday. Have a blessed and beautiful rest of your weekend. Peace.
I switch hit, I'm a strange fuck. Consistent ain't something I could say well. Throw my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day a swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.